And our first contributor today will be Quintens. She is a social designer, a field expert in participative and regenerative work in cities. Yuka is the founder of Living Lab, Moving Marseille, and Wetopia, Making Cities Together. And I think that the presentation will be focused especially on these projects. These projects cover different countries, and she's sharing, I would say, her activity between cities like Cape Town, Ostende in Belgium, and Marseille, south in France. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. So excited to be here in this great company of these great women. I'm sorry, Christian, but I'm very happy to share my story about Wetopia. I only have 10 minutes, so I try to do it as good as possible within this time. So yeah, I could say I'm a cultural entrepreneur. I never saw me that way, but okay, I am, I think. And I want to talk about Wetopia. Wetopia is a project I set up together with Kevin Kimwille. You see here also a picture of him. And what we try to do is to create as much as us as possible, creating us. That's our mission, and it's very nice to do it together with Kevin. He's born and raised in Kenya, but works in South Africa. I'm raised in Belgium. I work a lot from France, from Marseille. So he's a male, I'm female. So it's a nice combination, I think. You can go to the next slide, Ruba. And what we try to do is to create us that can emerge in different shapes. This is a picture of a group we worked with in Cape Town, or Wetopia Learning Program for Policymakers. And in this bunch of people, you see the right hand of the mayor of Cape Town. You see an activist of an illegal occupation in the V&A waterfront. You see an activist and social innovators from the townships. You see the marketing manager of the V&A. You see counselors and so on. And this is exactly what we try to do within Wetopia, bring people together who would never talk and try to create new alliances. Next slide, Ruba. And yeah, maybe I think this group here is certainly convinced yet. But why do we need Wetopia? Of course, we need to improve our democracy in cities because I think we all are convinced that change happens in cities on a local level in a specific context. All roles are important. That's very, very important to say, because I'm a social designer. I have a background in politics. My colleague Kevin is an architect, and we both come from worlds who are really top down. And for us is this bottom up approach and the recognition that all roles in society are important is key for Wetopia. And of course, what we do tries also to fight segregation between people, but also between places. Example is the north and the south of Marseille. Of course, we need more together. The polarization, I don't have to tell you, is bigger than ever. And of course, we also have to be aware that the real knowledge and the experience is among the people themselves, and we have to use this knowledge as much as possible. Next slide. And that's how I try to present it in the most simple way as possible. So a traditional view would be that we all hide under the umbrellas politicians keep open for us. But politicians are overestimated. I think they can no longer resolve the problems in society on their own. And that's why we have to turn the umbrella around and make it a boat to step in it together to co-create our future together. And I like to call this the activism of the 21st century. I live in France, so the activism of the 20th century is very active here. We have a manifestation every day, let's say, and it's good. We're not against activism of the 20th century in which we try to make our point, but Wetopia fully embraces the activism of the 21st century, meaning we roll up our sleeves and we just start changing things by setting up projects, whether we are an activist, a policymaker, a civil servant, a scientist. We start doing things. What's Wetopia for us? Specifically, we try to create in everything what we do to create new alliances. People who never met, for example, business school students work together with prisoners. I'm just giving one example. We try to create a common space for collaboration. Also the potential of place is very important. Regenerative design and system thinking, where we start from the potential of a place, the potential of a context, the potential of a neighborhood, of a street. That's where the whole thinking starts. We think we can do it anywhere on any subject, whether it's in a slum of Nairobi or it is at the V&A waterfront of Cape Town, and also on every topic. It's a way of looking at the world and approaching the world. And of course, we want to do it with people who are committed and who really want change. We are not going to do these fights with people who don't want change. So this is for us really key in Wetopia. And how do we do it? I think I have a few minutes left, and I would say, Ruba, just go through the slides. There's a lot of pictures. This is, for example, in Cape Town, not too fast, Ruba. This is, for example, in Cape Town, where we always work with cultural platforms. So this is a decision we made. We don't want to work directly with local how do you say it, collectivity governments, local governments, but we really work here, for example, with Open Design Africa. Yeah, you can go. And here you see a few pictures of what we did in Cape Town. Yeah, you can go faster now. But this is also important. It's not only about thinking, it's also about doing. So it's not only sitting in a room and co-creating solutions, it's also developing this. In Marseille, for example, our partner was Manifesta, the art biennial. We did these are the students, the business school students in front of the prison. We just came out of the prison where we did a workshop with 9 boys, same age, same city, but 2 complete different worlds. They would never meet each other. So, and what do they have in common? Their city and the solutions and the possible for their cities. And that's what we did in the Tour de tous les possibles. We set up 20 workshops with 40 different groups. We do it in emblematic places. We always work also with people who draw. You see it here. So to make things visible, to image really the ideas that emerge, but also the next step is bring this into practice. So we really try to encourage this. This is Nairobi. You can go quickly here. We worked around energy solutions in a slum, the biggest slum of Africa. Even there we could work online sometimes. This is also a very nice one I really liked last summer in the frame of the Festival of Architecture in Ostende, the Flemish Festival of Architecture, where we set up in 3 neighborhoods, a very deep process of 7 meetings each under a tree in the middle of their neighborhood in summer, and with this group of 10 people in 3 neighborhoods, so we had 30 people. We co-created the narrative of the neighborhood, the role of the neighborhood for the bigger challenges of the city, again with illustrators. Then we brought the 3 groups together, and we even made a show. You see it here. So in the cultural center, we presented the ideas of the people, and then maybe the last thing. So yeah, Tunis. We are planning to work with youngsters, young artists from the MENA region. And this is the last thing I'm going to say, and I think it's important. Sometimes we also focus on one of these roles. For example, entrepreneurs. What we did here in Marseille, Rotterdam, Antwerp, it's a European Social Fund project. We invite entrepreneurs. You can show them on the next slide. And these are entrepreneurs we think are real catalysts for an inclusive society. So they really are the change makers. I'm saying they are the policy makers. And yeah, maybe I end with this story that bringing people forward, whether they're activists, whether they're civil servants, whether they're urbanists, whether they are entrepreneurs, they all have their role, like a politician who is elected, and they can really make change possible. And that's what we try to do with Wetopia, to push them and to develop new solutions. And for us, we are entrepreneurs, of course, because these kind of activities like the urban field trips, it's a way to have money to do our projects. So of course it's also a business for us. We still are a social designer and an architect, and we have to we have to make our living, and sometimes we have funding, but often we don't have funding. And then we have a mixed model to have as many means and much budget as possible to do as much projects as possible. Voila. I'm going to leave it there because if not, I take too much time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julke, because this is really fascinating to see in a nutshell, all these things that are really, I mean, also with practical results. We always think about discussion or academic, sometimes discussion, and here this is something concrete. You get results, and you touch also, I think, really big, important issues, that it's not just about culture, sustainability, but also about the democracy and the impact, as you said, maybe in France with you get this experience there with about all these yellow jackets and all the and all this, but there is something behind that is so much important, because a lack of trust from people towards the politicians, toward politics, and you just explained that it's possible to to do different things at the same time and to achieve sustainable development goals, for example, from a bottom-up approach, and by making people participate and acting themselves in that. Just a last remark also, I think that it's really important about the fact that you work also with Africa and with places of such importance, and I guess that I see in what you're doing link that maybe you do with the European Development Days that were organized by, and the summit between the European leaders and Africa just
yes.
a few days
ago.
That.
Yeah.
Well, there are so much, I mean, connections there to be made in terms of networking and in terms of coordinating some research. So really, thank you. Glad to see that maybe, and to see the recording when we get more time, and to look at all those fascinating examples.